welcome back to Shitty Gaming. So today we're going to be talking about what might possibly be my most favorite system of all time. It's a really close race. It's between this one and the Sega Saturn, but we're talking Atari Jaguar, the first 64-bit home console, theoretically, if you do the math and you look at it from a certain point of view. And it's Tuesday. So this system is really cool because here on the show we've talked about the 3DO and the CDI. The Jaguar, out of all those consoles, is the one that I got new in store. I mean, I think my FZ10 I got when it was still in store, if I remember right. But the Jaguar, I remember buying it, getting it home, playing the games on it, loving it, and then going to Babbage's and looking for new games and buying stuff there. I have a lot of memories about the Jaguar. It was just, I don't know what it was about it. It clicked with me. I mean, it was, a footnote in Atari's glorious history and a last gasp Hail Mary pass by Atari do stay relevant. And it was an abysmal failure. But for me, it was just awesome. Because I remember getting all the Jaguar games, and I think the Jaguar games are up here. I know you can probably just barely see them up on this shelf, but almost all the Jaguar games I have are complete box copies because I bought them at Babbage's when they were brand new and taking them home and just, I remember getting Rayman in the store, Alien versus Predator. I remember all that. It was just really awesome. I thought the controller was amazing. I mean, to be honest with you, back in the day, I can understand why people don't like it. I'm going to stop fondling the Jaguar so I can focus on talking. I can remember, I understand why people don't care for the controller. I get it, because it's big, because it's like, it's a good sized controller. Um, and the gamepad thing, which I kind of understand, but I kind of think it's brilliant, because, like, haven't you ever played a game where you're just like, why can't I just have these like hotkeyed or something? Like if you're playing Skyrim today, you've got your gamepad and you have to map stuff. So like you're playing, then you got to push up on it, and then it brings up your sub menu, and then you got to pick what you want. Blah blah blah. Right? Well, what if you were playing Skyrim and you had a keypad and you just hit one's your sword, two's your spell, three's this, four's that? You're just like, phew, and you're back in. To me that makes sense, and I understand it back in the day, especially when systems only had two or three buttons. Having an extra 8 or 9 buttons was a good thing. That would allow you to play like maybe flight simulators or um, strategy games where you can just, assign squads of units. I could click on one, it'd be these 4 tanks. I could click on two, it'd be these 2 infantry dudes. Click on 3, and it would take me back to my base to look at something up. To me, I think that had a lot of potential, and I really don't know why it never caught on, because you would have thought developers would have enjoyed having these extra control options. Like on the 2600, they had Star Raiders that came with that little gamepad. That was great. It let you pull up different systems and get your map and all that stuff, and it accented the joystick that only had one button on it. So it was a great idea. I mean, how many 2600 games did you play where you had to use the black and white switch and the player 1 or 2 switch to do things in the game? Like I remember Space Shuttle did that. I think Star Master did that. I mean, there were a lot of games that didn't have enough buttons, so they had to fake it with buttons on the system or whatever. So later on, like when the NES came out, 2 buttons. I mean, that's great when it started, because that's twice as many as the games had before. But still, think how many, like Top Gun would have helped if you had like a flap switch and something else, like on a gamepad or something. You could have had more control over stuff. It just, to me, I always understood why console companies put those buttons there. I just never understood why nobody took advantage of it. And I'm not the only one that thought that. I mean, come on, in television, ColecoVision, Jaguar. I mean, there were a lot of systems that included. I mean, the Odyssey had a full keyboard for crying out loud. It's like, why didn't that catch on? I just don't know. It's just so odd. But anyway, I mean, I'll admit the gamepad on the Jaguar controller is a little squishy, and it's not the best in the world. But I for the most part, enjoy the controller. Um, but yeah, I remember going into Babbage's and getting these games, taking them home, playing them. I mean, I have a lot of good memories with the Jaguar. Playing Aliens versus Predator, Defender 2000, a lot of good stuff. I remember Tempest 2000 was pretty cool. Yeah, but it's like those memories, because there's some systems you collect just because you're a collector at this point, like you may have been a Sony fanboy, but if you're a collector, you probably ended up with an original Xbox at some point, and you could buy games for it, but you're not. Oh boy, it's the Xbox! Yay! So, you're just kind of getting it because you're a collector, and you should just have more of the big common consoles. With the Jaguar, I remember going in there and being excited when there were new games coming out or tracking release dates for games and stuff like that. So, and it still excites me now that there's new games being released for it and stuff. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's a great console. I think it's really good. I know it's touted as do the math. It's the first 64-bit console, which is debatable due to its architecture, whether it's really a 64-bit console or it's just a faking it 32-bit console. And I'm not really going to get into that debate because it doesn't really matter at this point. Um, but yeah, I guess maybe it's just me. It's just that point of being able to go into the store and remember buying those games and excited to get home and play it on your Jaguar and stuff. That a lot of people maybe never had that feeling. I mean, I'm sure there's some Jaguar fans out there where we were like that, but most people can have that kind of memory with like their NES and Super NES and all that stuff. And I can remember that with the Jaguar. It's like, oh my God, Rayman just came out. I can't wait to play this. Or I'll wait till Friday when I get enough money together and I'm going to go buy blah blah blah. Now, admittedly, it's the Jaguar, and there were some crappy games on it, so I can imagine some people were really excited to go buy Ultra Vortec and then got it home and cried. But I mean, to be honest with you, that stuff still happens today. You can drop 60, $70 on a PS4 game and take it home and it's shit. So, you know, times have changed, I guess. It's just the format or something. I don't know. But anyway, I think that's enough me rambling about the actual Jaguar. So I'm going to stop it here. We're going to switch over to the console and throw some cartridges in and play. So stay tuned. All right, everybody. So the first Jaguar cartridge game we're going to look at here is Tempest 2000. This was, I'd almost want to say it was kind of like a pack-in because I just remember it was like all over the place back in the day. Actually, I think Trevor McFur might actually come with some systems. But anyway, this is a really good arcade shooter. It's widely considered one of the best games on the system, and I have to agree, it's pretty darn good. It's definitely in my top 10. But yeah, there's a couple games like this that came out: Tempest 2000, Missile Command 3D, and Defender 2000. And basically, it came with the traditional game, and then you got upgraded versions of it. So we're going to take a quick look here. We'll start with the traditional. You got to love those 90s melting graphics they use for menus. So basically, the whole point of Tempest is you're this little ship, I guess, and you're on the outside of this kind of vector graphics screen, and then stuff starts coming in and you got to shoot them and protect yourself, basically. And it's kind of like just a fun arcade shooter. This one came with its own soundtrack. It's a pretty good game. It gets hard really quick, or at least I always found it a hard game to do. Once you've killed everything, then of course you just move on to the next level. But pretty fun. doesn't really show off the power of the Jaguar, I don't think, very much. But, you know, not every game has to be a powerhouse of graphics to be good. Let's see. Trying to remember if there's a way to go back. Oh, yep, they caught me. So yeah, let's see if I can pull up the tradition or upgraded version real quick just to look at. Get to hear that Jaguar roar. All right, so let's pick one of the upgraded versions here, just kind of show off. Let's go with the actual Tempest 2000. Just start. And we'll do the first level here in Tempest 2000 mode. You can see the stunning difference. So as you can notice here, it supports power-ups. And then as you can see here, they've kind of filled in the vector graphics with some choice, I don't know what you want to call that, blue stuff. So you see I got the laser upgrade. Yep, then they shot me. So not a bad game. Personally, just me as a gamer, I always had trouble kind of telling what was where and what was going on and stuff. But a decent shooter, a good arcade port, and, you know, one I'd recommend if you're going to have the system. But I think it's time to move on to our next cartridge game. Alright, so the next game we're going to look at on the Jaguar is Flip Out, which is a fun little puzzle game. It's basically what you're doing is you're trying to solve a puzzle, you know, get all the colors to match and whatnot. Going to start out on Cheese World. So basically what they want you to do is fill in the pattern like it looks there on the screen. So you see the green tile is in the middle. Now you've got one extra tile, and you always have to have one tile flipping up in the air, hence the name Flip Out. And then the annoying little aliens are always going to be in the way, you know, trying to stop you eventually. So of course that's the first screen, so it's a very easy one here. So basically now we want a green cross. So there you go. And of course it gets progressively harder as you go through. It pretty much just uses the B button. Eventually you'll have to change tile colors and that sort of thing to kind of kick stuff off. So um, it kind of makes things a little more interesting there. But let's see. I guess we got to do green in the center. Boy. And I'm not doing the best here, but kind of get the idea. Oops. Boy, I'm doing that completely backwards. Alright. Kind of gives you a little hint there because you can see the colors under the tiles as you flip them. So there we go. That should have it. There we go. So it's a fun little puzzle game. Um, Entertaining and everything like that. Just kind of show that the Jaguar actually did have a decent kind of mix of games in its library. I mean, it does have a small library, but you got some decent puzzle games, shooters, and that sort of thing. So see, now it's going into multiple colors, and you got to get them in their area and stuff like that. So just a quick look at Flip Out, and we'll go on to our last game. Alright guys, so this is the last game we're going to look at here, and this was originally intended to be a Jaguar exclusive. Of course, due to the sales of the Jaguar and the situation, Ubisoft was like, this game's too good to just leave on this one system that's kind of going away. So it did get ported to the PS1 and, many game systems and stuff since then. But this is, in my opinion, the best game on the Atari Jaguar right here, Rayman. It's a beautiful on the Jaguar. It's an incredibly good side scroller. It plays differently than the other ports, so I would definitely recommend it. But let me go ahead and get a game start up here, and we'll show a little bit of gameplay on it here. Okay, intro. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to start on the first level. Alright, so as you can see, it all looks like hand-drawn animation. You can punch, you can jump, you want to collect all the doodads and thingamabobbers. And I believe, you want to save the lums, which are like the little glow in the little, I don't know what you want to call them, kind of life forms here. Rayman's world is kind of weird. So, but you can climb and explore, and there's lots of different things to look at. Music's really good. Um, so yeah, it's definitely one I would recommend. The controls are really good. It doesn't use the gamepad or anything. It's just basically D-pad, a jump, and a punch button. But a very solid platformer, beautiful, plays well, great sound. I mean, it's got everything you could possibly want for a platformer. So I would definitely recommend picking it up. It's, from what I understand, getting harder to find on the Jaguar, or it's a more expensive game now. But it is definitely worth it. Ah, little bomb guy got me. I don't know if you saw that or not. But yeah, I guess progressively harder as you go. And you have to power up and stuff. Of course, I've played several levels, so I can, like, punch farther and stuff like that. But definitely worth the game if you can get it. Good sense of humor. Oof. See, there's some of the people I got to rescue there. There we go. There you go. So evidently, when I played this last, I didn't actually go up and explore. I was just off in different areas. So always finding something new in this game. But it's got fun. It's a good, charming game. There we go. We rescued some more little guys. Let's see if I. Ooh, all right. So you can land here. So I always like the fish because when you hit them, their teeth fall out, and it's pretty funny. So yeah, I mean, if you've got it on another system, I don't know if there's enough changes to warrant having the Jaguar copy too, but I can tell you, I remember back in the day, I had a friend who got the PS1 version, and it was a lot different for on his version because, like, for example, there'd be levels where I would just walk across the level, and on his, you would be sliding, so it would be a lot faster and crazier pace. You didn't quite have the control you had in the Jaguar version. But I wanted to take a look at it just because, like I said, this is one of the best games. It's best game on the Jaguar, and just very good game overall. I would definitely recommend it. And it does have some puzzle options here because, like, I have to get the fruit into the water down there to be able to try and get that item. But you have to kind of like fight it to get it up there, you know. And the physics can work against you sometimes too. There we go. Oh, see, I hit it too far that time. There we go. Now I have that item, which makes my punches more powerful and whatnot. So anyway, like I said, I just wanted to take a look at it. This is an underrated game too, because for whatever reason, it never seems to get as much um, talk as the other games. You know, it's always Alien versus Predator, Tempest 2000, um, Missile Command 3D, or all that stuff are always talked about as being like the best on the system. But this is honestly one of the best games in my opinion, and well worth owning. Everybody should have it in their collection. If not the Jaguar version, at least some version of the original Rayman, because it is so good and it's honestly a lot better than a lot of 3D games they put out. So anyway, that's our quick look at some of the better Jaguar games here. I'm going to end it. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.